Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I've got a wonderful, funny young lady, Marissa Thomas. How are you, Marissa?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel like a woodpecker in a lumberyard.
That's awesome. That's a good thing, right?
I'm a little giddy. I'm a little giddy. Anytime I have a woman on the show, I'm a little giddy.
Well, it's kind of ironic. They're hammering on my neighbor's house in the background, so that like if you hear that, that's it just plays in perfectly.
We got a
That's
woodpecker
improv.
going. Well, let's start. You're in Minneapolis, Minnesota, is that right?
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
were you born and raised in that area?
Yes, I was. Actually, I was
Okay.
born and raised in Richfield. I 26 moved out to LA for 3 years to try my
Okay.
luck. And then 20, I thought I missed I never thought I'd get used to green Christmases, so I moved back and every winter I'm like, "Why?" But I'm here. So,
That was going to be one of the questions. The winters in Minneapolis are just brutal.
yes, yes. This one has actually been very, very nice.
Yeah,
Like I even
yeah,
got my son out to the zoo a few times.
right, right. So when you went to, I don't want to jump around, but you kind of threw me for a loop there. You went to LA for 3 years?
I did. I was trying my luck at acting. Had to pursue it, had to get out there, had to know.
Okay,
And yeah, it really is a tough industry. They don't film much in LA. They sure didn't then. They really don't now. And they always told me every audition I went to, and this was obviously 30 pounds and 14 years ago, but they told me I was too white and too tall. I said, like, I'm pasty, like, I'm from Minnesota. I'm whiter than Christmas. I'll tan, I'll peel, I'll burn, I'll peel, I'll be pasty again. So I tried to go brunette,
right.
but yeah, still look whiter than Christmas. But that's,
So
you
after
know,
3 years, you just said that this isn't going to work.
I said, this isn't going to work. I have my Cosmo license in Minnesota. I don't want to work in restaurants. I don't want to
Okay,
be, I said, why am I here? Why am I overpaying rent? My family, my friends, my support system is in Minneapolis.
right,
And there's a
right.
good comedy scene here. And I enjoy cookies and beer.
Okay.
So, didn't want to have to be a size two that I think last time I was probably fourth grade, but
Well,
that's another story.
I have written down here that when I think it's your Facebook page, you say I tell funny stories and give serious hairstyles.
Yes. When I moved back from LA,
Right?
you get to know your clients, you build this family, they want to
Sure.
know
Sure.
we're nosy. We're hairstylists. And they would ask me stories about LA because, yeah, I got to party with a few big names. I always got background work. I worked on a few shows and they'd use me by the main characters, but I never got those speaking roles. So I would tell my clients these stories. And that's when they would say, "Oh, you should write a book." And
Okay.
I said, "What would I call that book? How not to succeed in Hollywood?" And that's what I did.
Is that the
They look
title of
good.
the book?
It is.
Okay. I'll put the links now. I have here, I think you're on TikTok. Is that right?
I am.
And you're on Facebook. Are you
I'm
on
old.
Instagram? Are
I
and
am on Instagram. I'm old, so I'm new to TikTok, but find me. I'd
okay.
love to expand it.
And what about, do you have a YouTube channel? Because I'll even put the link to your book if it's still available. I'll put the, link to everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It is on Amazon. It's basically just, I think somebody bought it thinking it was an instruction how to get to Hollywood, how to make it happen. And
Right.
I think they gave me like a 1-star review. So just don't be fooled. It's just my life story
No,
because what
no,
we did
no.
was I do kind of have something on YouTube because I wrote the book in order to create a pilot. So there is a pilot on YouTube with one of my
Okay.
best friends forever, Matt Marsh.
Okay.
So you can find that. I also participate in an improv group in Minneapolis called Scenes from a Hat.
Yeah, I have
Um,
that written down, scenes from a
yep,
hat.
they're on YouTube as well. I don't have my own private YouTube channel. I know I'm a
Okay.
slacker. That's where I'm fired. But you can find How Not to Succeed in Hollywood and Scenes from a Hat if you want to
Scenes
see me
from
make
a
a fool
hat
out of myself.
is an improv troupe from Minneapolis there. Is that what you're
Yep.
saying?
Yep. It's kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, but
Okay.
Minneapolis wise. So whose line is it? If you come to Minneapolis, need an opener, we got you.
Okay.
Just
So
saying.
so you perform this live?
Yep, that's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. We've been at Mall of America a few times, Mars Con, Twin Cities Con, lots of live there's a big group of us, so it's a beautiful variety of people, actors, comedians. It's just a good time. The audience participates. They give the suggestions. They give the scenes. We have a great host, Jay Sterling,
Okay.
produced by Steve. One Job, Steve. But yeah, we just perform all over the Twin Cities. But I also do stand up
Okay.
when I get the chance with my 1.5-year-old. But
Okay. Well, that was going to be my next question is when you got back from LA and you wrote the book or whatever, when did you start doing comedy?
kind of right away, I started looking around and I was like, I'm burnt out on auditions. I'm burnt out on, I'm not the young vixen in Hollywood, but I'm not the soccer mom.
Right.
I do my Botox, but I'm technically older. Where do I fit into this? And I started finding open mics and I found one, kind of jumped right in, did an open mic, and I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. I remember seeing on one of your previous episodes after the show where you're like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have done it that way. I should have
Right.
said it this way. And I remember I went to, I don't know if I should say the place,
That's fine.
a
Do
certain,
it
a
whatever
certain
you
mall in
want.
the Twin, a certain mall in the Twin Cities. And I remember I reached out asking them the difference between open mic, and they had this other,
Damn, whoa.
God, I don't even remember what it was called, but I said, what is the difference between these shows? Who can sign up? How can you do it? Well, you need experience. You obviously don't have experience, or something like that. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I don't see enough women in your shows. So there's a local club called the Gay 90s.
Okay.
One of my dearest friends in the Twin Cities knew the woman that booked the stage. And I thought, screw you. I'm going to put together a show of female comics,
Yep.
and we're going to perform just because we can, just because I
Yeah.
can. It didn't make money, anything like that. Called it Sugar, Spice, and Almost Everything Nice, because it was
Okay.
all women. That's where the cupcake photos, I don't know if you saw that on my Facebook
Yeah,
page.
I did.
We smeared our frosting mustaches, and we
Yeah.
were in, the local newspapers, all that. I just wanted a bunch of female comics to get up, because in females in comedy, it's hard because you see a lot of female comics going for that low-hanging fruit. You
Well,
don't you don't have to
yeah,
joke about being a slut. You don't have to joke
yeah.
about sex.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I've made it very clear. I would love to have nothing but female comedians on this show for the rest, as long as I'm doing it.
Because we're
Unfortunately,
amazing.
it's hard to find female comedians that
Yes.
that want to do it, or whatever. But I'm still working on it, and I'm getting more and more, and I just feel more comfortable, I think. And I also feel that female comedians get a bad rap. You just touched on it, that there are a
Yes.
lot of great female comedians that don't do just about their husband or their boyfriend and sex, and you know
Yes. Or
there
trying to
are
convince the
a
audience.
lot of witty women out there, and I don't think they get their props.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah,
We have amazing female comedians in Minneapolis.
right.
Amazing female comedians.
Well, let's go back because I kind of jumped around there, and I tend to do that. I have a small crack problem. I'm smoking diet crack now. I was
I
smoking
do that. It's
I was
caffeine.
smoking the crack light, but it's bad aftertaste. No, my question then, in other words, when you got back and you started doing stand up and all this, but was there something that triggered it? A lot of people tell me, well, I started doing comedy because of a bad breakup or something in your life that triggered you to start doing comedy.
No, I was always single. I was always happy being single. It just, I guess when hair probably inspired me the most, or I worked in restaurants. I worked my way through Cosmo School, Real
Okay,
College, the whole nine. People would always tell me I was funny, or they'd laugh.
right,
And I thought, well, if I can make you laugh trying to tell you how to take care of your split ends, I mean, I've got to be able to go further. If you think that's funny,
right,
let's talk
right,
about something actually funny. So I thought, what the hell? If all I do is get up there and laugh at myself,
yeah,
okay, check it off the bucket list. Then,
right,
you get up there, you know how it is. You get a few laughs, you're like, okay, all right, I
all
feel the
right,
energy.
yeah.
I could do this again.
And so now, how long have you been doing? If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been doing all this there in Minneapolis?
Um, the comedy, I moved back in 2012. I probably started pursuing it, had to get my crap together back in Minneapolis. My job going again with hair.
Right.
Probably started doing it like 2014, 2015.
Yeah, and then we had the pandemic, which shut everything down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you
I
go ahead?
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I pursued it, but it wasn't, it was more just of a fun thing because I was kind of burnt
Okay.
out on the auditioning, the scenes, you
Right,
got to
right.
look good, you got to show up, you got to not eat, you got to do your setups, you got to get to the gym, crap
And
like that. I was
and
kind
you
of burnt
and you
out.
have a
But
1.5-year-old.
now I do, yes,
Okay.
yes. So now, the lovely comedians that I know around the Twin Cities, when they tell me about shows or they're like, "Hey, this show is happening. Do you want
Yeah,
to come do it? Do you have time to come do it?" Because trying to work a work schedule, got to
yeah,
block off the books and
yeah,
cancel some clients, and then
right.
that fun stuff. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're getting better as you're going along? In other words, going back to your first gig to now, do you feel like you're getting better?
Oh God, yeah. I remember. I mean, that first
Yeah.
gig. I don't know if you had the same experience. You get up there, the mic is shaking, and
Were you?
you're like, "What in the hell am I doing up here? Like, what? Why do I want this? This is evil."
Well,
And now it's just, you know what? Just getting up on the stage, and sometimes people are just gonna laugh at you because,
what what I
you
hear, what I hear, Marissa, is, and this, I've done probably 100 of these now. That, and I'd say probably 95% of them. Most people say that they're terrified, they pee their pants, or they, get sick. But they get up on stage, they shake, they do whatever, and then the minute they come off, they can't wait to do it again.
but you can't wait to do it again. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's mostly
right,
for me
right.
trying to remember. Oh, I was going to talk about this. I was going to talk about this. I was going to talk about this. I
Yeah,
hope I
yeah,
don't forget that. That's good. And I'm horrible in that. I think of the most random things at the random times. I'm like, I need to write that down.
yeah.
Mostly when I'm rocking my son to sleep at night. I'm like, oh, I got to write that down, and I never do.
Marissa, I do that, and not only do I do that, but I'll tell you what, I mean, I get up, and someone suggested, yeah, you ought to have something in your bed, in the bedroom there to write. I end up
Yeah.
getting up, because I'll lay awake and I can't sleep and it's in my head. And finally I get up, I better write that down. This is a whole
Mm-hmm.
bit, I want to write down. And
Yeah.
I mean, like
3 a.m.
even here, I have, stuff written down on you because I want to make sure, it's a matter of respect to me. I don't care who's on this thing. I want to make sure that I, know a little bit, that, you're a hairstylist, and, just everything that I can find out.
Yeah. It's
Because,
it's you wake up to pee at 3 a.m. and you think of that funny stuff, and it's like, if I
yeah.
write this down, maybe I can go back to sleep. But
Would you say that your comedy, because I mean, telling stories, is that pretty much, it's not like me, I do a ton of one-liners. You get up and tell stories.
some one-liners, yeah, it's mostly stories because my thing is you have to see the comedy in life or you'll go crazy. And I'm an outgoing person. I'm sure you
Right.
couldn't tell.
No,
Um,
if you break out of your shell, you're going to be something.
just I'm outgoing. I'm not afraid to talk to people. My kid is the same way. He loves to make random friends at the zoo, and the kids are creeped out. But um,
Hey, why don't you just go ahead and tell me your favorite story real quick? Tell me one. Or, like,
about
do
comedy.
do a bit, yeah, do a bit from your stage show.
So I learned in LA, you get to LA and you see these girls and they're being taken care of, and you see these people being supported on social media, and you think, how do I get into that? And on Sundays now and holidays, one of my favorite managers invited me back to a restaurant I used to work at. Well, there was this older guy that used to come in. He's probably like 90. You know,
Okay.
him and his like 68-year-old son came in for breakfast one day. This is just the beginning.
Right.
And I walk up and they're looking at a funeral, like a casket pamphlet. And I'm like, wow, fun. I'm like, okay, so we're having Bloody Marys? Like, how are we starting? How's Sunday going? And the guy looks up and he goes, my wife just died. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go in the back and cry now.
I'm
Now
sorry.
every Sunday he comes in and points at me, he's like, we want you, and wants to sit in my section. He
Right.
brings both of his sons, their wives, his grandson. They knew
Okay.
me through my pregnancy. We catch up on my son. And it's like that scene from Dirty Dancing where Jerry Orbach hands, like when
Yeah.
he tips me on the bill, he always pays.
Right.
Where Jerry Orbach hands the check and he's like, "Good luck in medical school, son." And it's
Yeah.
always a mean 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Splenda daddy. Like a real sugar daddy, but half the allowance.
Splendid daddy.
Yes, that is the story of my life. So close, yet so far. And like I
Yeah,
said, he's the nicest, sweetest guy, and he thinks he's like putting my son through college by handing me like 10 to
15%.
15%. Yeah. Better than a kick in the nuts, but
Tighter than
he's
he's
so
tighter
proud
than
to hand it. Yeah.
he's tighter
And
than
one of his sons always tries to give me crap when I was pregnant. He'd try to they dish it just like they take it, you know. And I looked at him one day and I was like, "You should be careful. I might be your new mom. I can make your life miserable."
he's tighter than a clam with lockjaw.
Yes,
God,
yes. And he
that's
goes, "Well, that's
funny.
nice, but give me more coffee."
But so
I'm like,
just because I want to clarify. So that's a true story that
"Yeah,
this guy came in and his wife
every
died
Sunday."
with a casket.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I thought he'd have me fired. The next time he comes in, he goes, "We want you." I was like, "Well, I'm up in the rotation, so you're in luck."
That's funny. That's
And now they
funny.
just request me and they just walk in and sit and they're like, "You know what we want, go get it." I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right. All right." But the restaurant gives me plenty of stuff too, because I
Yeah.
cannot believe still after COVID, people were so happy to get out in hair
Right.
in the restaurant. But it's crazy the difference in how people treat you as a stylist or as a server. I'm a server, but when I walk up, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. This is my fun job." And they're like, "What do you do? Hair?" "Oh, I have questions for you."
Right.
But it's crazy the difference in how they treat you, but it gives you a lot of material for comedy. Like when people are like, "Well, this steak was wrong, this was wrong, my coffee's cold." I'm like, "I'm obviously the CEO. That's why I'm taking away your dirty dishes."
Right.
You
Right.
know, like, "Cut. Do we have enough for a half-hour episode? This is Undercover Boss." Yeah. Like, "Oh, I care." Yeah, that's right. Like, what's my
Well,
motivation?
when you describe the two, when you're a stylist, and this is just me thinking about it for a second, which again, my brain, we're not too sure, but when you're a stylist and you're there behind them with scissors, I think it would demand a little more respect. I know for me, you know what I'm saying? In other words,
Yes.
when you're bringing me coffee and shit, okay, there you go.
You're
Thanks,
like,
honey.
"Kiss my shoe."
Yeah, well, no, 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 no. I don't mean it the wrong way, but
No,
in
I
other words,
know. I
if I
get
put
it.
myself in those two scenarios, I'm going to have a lot more respect and a lot more if you're standing behind me with scissors.
This is true, and I'm not above default,
No,
so it's
what's
okay.
that?
I said I'm not above default.
No, I got to tell you, I think part of that I had on several occasions I've been cut.
I've probably cut certain people, but I probably shouldn't say anything for being
No,
recorded.
yeah, it's funny how they start getting there and call, oh, hey, hey.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Am I supposed to be bleeding right now? I'm
That's when you
just
gotta do a lot of tap dancing in hair, and you're
I
like,
just
"Sit still. This was your
yeah, oh
fault."
yeah. No, I'll tell you what, because I've been cut a few times, I sit there like this. I do not move. I do not move. I'm scared as shit. I just sit there like, okay, go ahead. And normally you go like this, or I'm like, okay. I don't move unless she moves my head, I ain't moving.
Well, then you're one of few, because
Oh,
a lot of people
I
wanna
know.
talk and look and watch and
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I imagine doing children is really hard.
Which is why I raised my kids' prices to try to frighten them away.
Okay. All
Hasn't
right.
totally worked, but I'm like, "Okay, well, if you're gonna pay this, I suppose I have to show up." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so yeah, do you want to do another one? Because I thought that first story was great. Do you want to do another one? Go ahead, do another bit.
Yeah, I learned years and years ago not to lie on my resume. I grew up right by Mall of America. It used to be a really big thing, and they'd have auditions, all this fun stuff. And I went with my best friend Matt Marsh. He's also on social media.
I'll
We went,
mention Matt. I'll mention
yeah,
Matt in this.
yeah. We went to There was a sport, as an actress, you take any audition you can, anything that you can audition for, you
Right.
submit left, right, and sideways. Hemorrhoid commercials, Planned Parenthood, whatever, sports. You don't know sports, but you do them anyway. So I told Matt to help me with the test. It was for some sportscaster, but they were open to male and female.
Okay.
I don't know shit about sports. I'm like, they wear tight pants or cute, we good. Like the ball needs to go there. I know that. The test, they give you a written test to try to weed out the fakes. Well,
Right.
Matt helped me with the test. We made it to the second round, I believe it was, where you're in the rotunda doing this interview. You're gonna do a review or something like that.
Right.
I don't remember what the hell the guy asked me. I think I was like 23, 24.
Okay.
And he starts asking a question about the sports. And
Oh
I
no.
just looked at him. Yeah, I got put right on the spot. I
Do
just
you
looked at him.
even?
I was like, I have no idea what any of that means,
I
but
was
I
going to
do
say,
enjoy
Marissa.
long walks on the
Let me
beach. But
stop you for a
yeah,
second. Do you even remember what sport it was that you were?
I
Football,
think
basketball, baseball? Do you have any
I
idea?
think hockey. Maybe it was
Hockey.
football. Yeah. I'm like, I don't watch the Twins, bro. Like, I have no idea.
Okay.
But
Hockey.
and women, you notice in reality shows, they're always playing with their hair, trying to
Right.
look delicate and cute. All this,
Right.
they're petting their weave, and tried to do the sexy, like brush my hair out of my eyes. I had long hair, and a
Right.
big old chunk of weave came out at the same time,
Oh
like a big
no.
old chunk of my extensions. When I'm like, but I enjoy long walks on the beach, cookies and cream ice cream, and beautiful sunsets.
So
I'm
I'm
like,
guessing you didn't get the call back on that one.
weird, right? Yeah,
Yeah, go
did not
figure.
get the call back.
What are the
Yeah.
odds on that?
Maybe a
Especially,
lower cut shirt. I don't know. I don't know.
especially
But
when you started calling the puck a ball.
yeah, I was like, I don't even know what a home run is. Like, whatever. Yeah. I suck at sports. Watching them live is fun, but I should not be the commentary. I'd be like, that swingy thing got the ball over there and they're running.
I'm just laughing
Like
because
it's
I can picture them saying, "Okay, pretend you're doing a hockey. He just hit a home run." You're like, what
yeah, yeah.
the
The
hell is he talking
guy,
about?
the look on his face, like you just
Oh
made a
God.
sham of this entire competition. Like he did not know what to say. He's like, huh. And I'm like, is that it? You're in the rotunda,
Oh,
hundreds of
Marissa,
people. Yeah. Like I'll make a fool out of myself. It's okay.
you're
I'm okay with
killing
it.
me. You are killing me.
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
an experience. Matt still makes fun of me to this day. Almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's an amazing friendship, you two. 20 years. That's close
mhm,
friends are that's what it's all about.
mhm.
I don't have
Yes.
any.
People
I
you
got
think.
I actually have to pay people to hang out with me, and they usually quit.
Well, you'll always do what you want to do then. Never have to let them pick.
I'm schizophrenic, and so am I. My
There you
imaginary
go.
friends started seeing other people, started talking to other
Yeah.
people. I got
Sounds like my
problems.
ex.
I
No.
got problems. You have no idea, Marissa.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought Taco Bell was a Mexican phone company.
Hey,
Now
as long as they
stop
have
it.
hot sauce.
Now
Yeah, as long as
stop it.
they have hot
Stop it.
yeah.
I'm being silly. Um, I tell you what, if you want to do another one, go ahead and give us another story. I'm just loving it. You really are a great storyteller.
Let me think. So, what other fun stories are there?
I
Um,
don't want to put you on the spot.
so
We
many,
can
so many to choose from. No, I'm trying to narrow it down. I go through this crap every day. Like another story about the restaurant. It's my fun job. I call it my Botox job. It's my fun job.
okay.
And I will never forget. I had a woman come in, and it's a higher class joint.
Okay.
Edina, Minnesota, where that's besides Wyzetta, Minnesota, that's one of the Beverly Hills. They were gonna make a Real Housewives of
Do
Wyzetta,
you
and then
want to
they probably got
mention? Did
their
you mention the restaurant? Do you want to mention it?
yep, yep. So, but just setting up the scene for what kind of crowd you get there. So I walk up to this table, and the first thing it's gonna be a party of 5, 6 people. And this woman looks at me. She goes, "I want a gin and tonic. It better have 2 limes. It better be medium sized. It better have this much ice, and it better not be sweating by the time it gets to the table."
Oh my.
Everybody else ordered
Oh
like a
my.
Diet Coke. Yeah, yeah. The fun of restaurants. So I went to the bar and I brought it back, and I was like, and I set it down right in front of her. 2 seconds later, she goes, "Where's everyone else's drink?" I was like, "Well, they didn't have ridiculous requests. Did I succeed? Like, am I fired yet?"
Did you
Like,
really say that?
I did. And
Wow.
she laughed, realized what a prick she was being. By
Yeah.
the end of it, gave me a hug. She wanted to hug me goodbye. I got my manager to get me out of the kitchen so she could give me a hug. And she gave me a bracelet, a silver bracelet that on the inside says, "You're a badass." And she goes, "I think it's time to pass the torch."
Oh, cool.
And it's one of those, it's a funny moment, but it also shows, You know, you can be real with people.
Yeah, yeah,
People can be they can suck, but they
yeah,
really can be awesome too. Give them a chance, or maybe
yeah.
call them on their shit, and maybe next time they won't be this ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell
And
you
now she
what.
comes in all the time.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm one of those guys, and that someone will say something and it triggers something. When you described her, it reminds me of going out to dinner with my sister, where she will sit there. Okay, does this come? Can I get that on the side? And do you put olive oil in the? And I mean, I sit there and I think they're going to spit in your food. You have created. Well, on this it says it comes with tomatoes. Can I get it without tomatoes, or maybe put the? And I mean, by the time she gets done her order, the rest of us are just like we're screwed. We're screwed. Our
Uh-huh.
table is
Well,
screwed.
I've had to remind people, I'm like, you know, I touch your food for like 5 minutes before you see me, right? Like, let's be logical. But there's also, we're part of a hotel, so we get people that come in all the time, and you're like, do you have a reservation? They're like, I'm staying in the hotel. I'm like, I stay up the road. Do you have a reservation? Like,
Right?
I I have a cat. Are we sharing? Like, that's not what I asked you. Did you call and say I'm physically bringing in 10 people? Because that would have helped.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can tell. I want to tell you something, Marissa. You're a snappy young lady. I wouldn't mess with you. If I came to the restaurant, I'd say, could I get some water, please?
Oh, I bring it out right away. You're okay.
Oh,
You're okay.
stop it. Stop it. Don't suck up. Don't give me that bullshit. I'm
Well,
I'm a
come
real
hang out with
prick.
me.
I'm a real no, I could hang out with you. You're a lot of fun. And I love your energy. You just go, and I think that that's part of being a success in comedy is being authentic, and people know that your stories, like in other words, you're mesmerizing me with each story because they're all, from the guy in the casket doing it for his wife, and each story is very unique. And I think I don't want to, because I told you I talk too much. I hate when I talk too much, but real life stories. If you watch some of these that I ask at the very end, which we're coming up on, I ask you your favorite comedy minute. And like I just did one yesterday that if you haven't seen it, that kid, he couldn't even hardly get the story out. Corey was having a hard time telling the story. It was about his worst gig ever. And, so I mean, I just think real things that really happen are better, than setups. I don't like, the setup crap.
Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah.
a lot of the TikTok videos or what I see that they're set up, you can see it coming a mile down the road. Yeah, she's going to trip, or they're going to push her into the pool, or you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. And
Uh,
and sometimes it's just telling those stories people can identify with you more.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
engaged because they're like, I've been there, I've done that. I know that happens.
yeah,
And yeah, don't be embarrassed, don't be pissed, find the comedy in it, laugh it off,
yeah.
and then, keep going.
I can relate to you already. In other words, and I think you bring up a great point, and I kind of touched on it. When you're standing behind me with scissors, yes, ma'am. If you're bringing me food, especially if I've had a couple cocktails, I'm good. I'm more liable to be stupid. But you said you draw a lot of comedy from that because I'm sure there are characters that come in there. Can you do just for me, because I love it? I'm a heavy drinker. My liver's twitching right now. Do you have a good drunk story?
Oh God. Okay.
Just do one. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
I
long.
do.
Just do one good, quick, good. I love a
Come
good
on, I
drunk
lived in
story.
LA. Yes. Okay. So, like I said, when you're out living in LA, if you go to the right places at the right times, you're gonna meet these celebrities. They always say, "Don't meet your heroes, don't meet your crushes," all that crap.
Right,
So again, story with Matt, because he when he lived out in LA and when I was single, I'd go out and visit him all the time. We
right.
always made it a night to party, made a point to party in West Hollywood. That's where you want to be. That's where the party's at. It's beautiful.
I've been there
And I'm a
before.
woman, a lot of gay clubs. I can trust men to buy me drinks. I can hang out with them. Life is good. Life is good. So we're walking in, and I have a celebrity crush, Chris Evans. Just
Okay.
saying, if you hear me, I'm
Chris,
here.
Chris, please come in.
Chris. Yes.
Okay.
I would like to be your date to the next Captain America, but not the
Okay.
point. So moving
See what
on,
we can do.
we're in the club. and it's my birthday, and Matt goes, "Oh, I want to introduce you to some people over here." And we walk up to this guy, this random guy, and Matt goes, "Oh, yeah, hey, how are you?" You know, they're talking, they knew each other. And he goes, "This is my friend Marissa. This is her birthday." And, I had longer hair, I'm like 15 pounds lighter. He's
Right.
like, "Oh my God, hi, you are so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm going to buy you a shot of tequila. What do you want tequila? Let's do tequila for your birthday." And I'm like, I'm a girl. Like, did I wear too much makeup? Like, I'm telling Matt, I was like, does he know I'm a girl? Like, I'm not a drag queen or anything, which nothing wrong with drag queens, but I'm like, I'm not one.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if he was hitting on me or just being nice. And, we had the shot of tequila, and he goes, "So this is my friend Marissa." He goes, and I'm being rude, Marissa. This is Scott Evans. And I'm like, "Ugh." I'm like, "What's up?" And of course, like, you go to that puppy dog mode, you want to play calm, cool, and collect. And he's like, "Oh,
Right.
my brother would love you." And I'm like, instead of playing it calm and cool, like, "Oh, who's your brother?" And I'm like, "Well, let's go hang out." And he's like, "Oh, my mom's in town. We can't. My mom's in town." I'm like, "I have to meet the in-laws sometime," in total overkill, just following him around the bar like a little puppy. I'm like, "Are we gonna do another shot? Let's do another shot." Like, I think we should. All this stuff. It's funny to me because I'm like, I had such I was this close, this close, this close. But my friend knew him through dodgeball, because dodgeball is a big thing in LA.
Right.
I suppose it's only funny to me, so this is one of those moments where it's probably only funny to me
No,
that I
I,
get to
I was just
watch
waiting
him
for the
go.
drunk part. I wanted to hear somebody fall
No, I
down.
was drunk, and I'm just following him,
Okay,
and I'm
all
like,
right.
"What? What?" And then I had to go to the bathroom and, like, trying to get my dress off, because it's unisex bathrooms there. It, like, came off, it whipped, and I hit my chin on the counter, so I'm bleeding,
Oh no.
thinking I'm gonna get, like,
See, now
syphilis.
we
I've got
got it.
blood all
Now
down,
we
and I'm
got it,
like,
Melissa.
when do we meet your brother? Like, it's just a total train wreck, nasty moment, and I'm like, "Oh, the stars aligned to just
That's like
crap on my day."
do you remember that movie? What was it? Blind Date with Kim Basinger, where she gets real wound up and with Bruce. Do you remember
Yes.
that? That's a funny
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Well,
And Matt's like,
Marissa,
"Should we go home?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "I'll just tie my shirt. It ripped, but I'll tie it. We're good. We're okay."
yeah, but
Like,
you're
am
bleeding
I
there,
bleeding?
honey. Honey, you're bleeding. You're
I'm
bleeding.
like swollen, like, "Let's go with your brother." Like, yeah, I'm like, best foot forward.
Well, we're gonna run out of time. We don't have a lot of time left, but man, I've really had a lot of fun. Let's
Yeah,
make
it was
sure you
fun.
cover. Let me make sure we cover everything that you want to mention, your comedy troupe, and just anything that you want to mention at this point. Please do. And again, I'll put all the links in this when we air it.
Okay, sounds good. The improv group, I don't have comedy shows scheduled at this point, but the comedy group does do a live taping in Inver
Okay.
Grove Heights, Minnesota, Town Square Television, every third Saturday of the month. It's
Okay.
free. Locals can come participate. We usually have some food. It's a good
Okay.
time. You can see a lot of improv troops as well as performing around the Twin Cities. They
Okay.
have a YouTube channel. Check them out.
I
Check
will.
all of
I'll
us
include it.
out. We're trying to get back to live shows on Facebook on
Okay.
Sunday nights.
Right.
So you can tune into that. You can participate also, watch, throw
Right.
suggestions out.
Sure.
That's probably the most consistent booking that I have going on right now.
And of
But
course, on your Facebook page, I think is where you post. Is that where you post the lion's
yep,
share of your stuff? Okay,
yep,
so
and
I'll
it,
make
it
sure
copies
and
to Instagram.
yeah,
Yep.
okay. We'll make sure we cover everything. So you know what time it is, don't you?
What time?
Your comedy minute time. This is always, this
Oh,
is
buddy.
always, this always, always. I don't know why, but I'm praying that you'll go along and just tell me your favorite comedy minute.
So the most recent comedy minute I have is
Perfect.
this whole parenting thing. Learn to laugh at everything.
Right.
Going to the zoo, seeing other people with their kids, it used to mean something else. Now, what I've noticed is it's like a synchronized dance. Everyone's got their stroller, everyone's in sync. You
Right.
roll up, you assume the position, and you get ready and you crouch down to your little one, and the chant begins. Do you see it? Can you see it? Do you see it? Can you see it? And it's kind of creepy. It's almost like pods, like everyone's been possessed and now we're all performing, acting the same way. It made me think, so my husband's a big gamer. It made me think of the game Diablo.
Right.
I don't know why I made that association between taking my child to the zoo and the game Diablo, but they show you maps of these labyrinths, you know, these paths. And I'm like, oh my God, the zoo has those too. And around every corner, something's going to jump out at you. Something evil is going to jump out at you.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's kids, they're not always evil, but they're going to jump out at you and like, oops, honey, watch out, honey, watch out, honey, watch out.
Yeah.
But it's like you're on a mission. You're on a mission to touch every part of the map and then leave and
Okay.
survive. And it's probably sad to me. I've been trying to work that into more of a funny story than like a bitter, scary, I'm calling your child Satan.
Yeah, I
But
was
it's
just
just
gonna say Diablo, I think is devil, isn't it?
yeah, but like I said, everyone lines up at the cage and
Let's
we're all
see.
assuming the same position.
Taking the kid to the zoo, the devil. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with
And
you.
so many more people that they will not admit it, but I know they see my logic. I know they see my logic. I know they do. It's just keep them
Well,
busy, like throw stuff at them, you know, yogurt, little crunchies, crackers, sippies. Like it's
I'm trying to think of the joke how it goes. You know me, I'm on one-liners. What time is it when people start throwing bread at your head? Time to duck.
yeah. See, it's the
There
most
you
logical
go. I was trying to
stuff.
wrap it up with a nice little bow, but that was great. That was a great comedy minute. We'll take it.